So I got into cannabis for many reasons. It's always been a part of my life. I had a husband that passed away from cancer. Cannabis use was a huge part of making him comfortable in his end of life. But I also had Lyme disease that went into my brain. And so I was unable to walk, blind in my right eye for 9 months, unable to form sentences. And it wasn't until I had a miscarriage that they found the Lyme disease had spread into my brain. At that point, I was pretty disabled and struggling for my life. And with the inability to eat and the pain management and all these things, modern medicine wasn't suiting what I needed, right? So I really did lean on plant medicine, which I had already had that like in my household being brought up. It was always a part of our life. But it became even more like I wanted to know and be educated and understand, how this plant was making our life so much more manageable through a serious illness. And then so social equity programs got launched in Massachusetts. And my father actually had a previous conviction. He got, he had weight and he, had a felony under his name. And as a veteran, like that was like, it just was not a time and a place to be a veteran and be in a place of carrying, a large amount of cannabis. And so he was charged with a felony. And because of that, I was able to access the social equity program. And that was during COVID. And so through that experience, I did a lot of online networking, a lot of just consulting and really just finding community in what we were trying to do and accomplish as social equity entrepreneurs in the cannabis space here in Massachusetts. And as that evolved, I created Massachusetts Cannabis Company, and I got eight HCAs approved through the communities and got partners, and then finally found it, the investors that made sense. And at this point, I had already launched Canna Management. So it's already really, Canna Management was bloomed out of figuring out as an operator who I needed to network with, whose products I wanted on my shelf, what products were not just talk, right? Which ones were actually powerful for the consumers and impactful for the consumers. So through that experience, I was kind of getting a lot of really deep insight into the industry at that point. And so I made a sound decision to not activate Massachusetts Cannabis Company and not activate those 8 HCAs and really just nourish what I was doing. And through that experience, Canna Management grew. And then about 2 years ago, we seen a real need in the industry to service these brand activations and really create a flexible program. Like we seen a lot of our operators were really struggling with full-time employment. Like they just couldn't keep people on full-time. And there was a lot of layoffs. There was a lot of changeovers, particularly to brand ambassadors. So we created House of Ambassadors. It's woman-owned and operated. We have approximately 28 women in Massachusetts, some in Vegas, Maryland, New Jersey. So as we're growing, we're really trying to understand what each individual client needs and what their impact that they're trying to make in the cannabis space is, right? Every operator, every brand is different. Their goals are going to be different and their budget is different.